Thank you very much, dear Shakhni Romanovich, colleagues, friends. As we agreed to Shakhni Mironovich, one of the first visits after taking office as president after re-election and formation of the government, we are going to Tashkent to Uzbekistan. And it is no coincidence, mainly because Uzbekistan is a reliable ally of strategic partners. Our close and friendly relations are developing dynamically. They develop on the principles of equality, mutual respect, and consideration of each other's interests. We're in constant contact with you. Dear Shavkat Mironovich, we have been personally controlling all hot issues in bilateral relations and will continue to do so. And I am sure your visit to Russia has further provided a serious impetus for cooperation. In October 2023, Russian ministries and commissions are actively implementing. I believe that the agreement we reached at that time will be meaningful and successful, and the joint statement we have prepared with you outlines the main tasks in the context of further strengthening bilateral cooperation in various fields, and I believe it will also play a role. This will be one of the key points in strengthening our regulatory framework. In addition, a solid signature will be signed. A package of intergovernmental, interdepartmental, interregional and commercial agreements covering trade and industrial cooperation in the field of peaceful atoms. You just mentioned culture, science and education. I would like to point out that Russia is one of Uzbekistan's main trading partners. We have also talked about this in a narrow sense, and bilateral trade is growing at a good rate. I would like to point out that thanks to your position, favorable conditions have been created for direct investment, and Russian direct investment in Uzbekistan is increasing year by year. Now they have reached a solid number. Nearly 10 billion, I believe, if it is implemented, I have no doubt about it. All our plans, which we have just talked about, are narrow in that these direct investments will increase significantly and benefit Uzbekistan's economic development. There are about 300 Russian-funded enterprises in Uzbekistan, and about 700 Uzbek-funded enterprises operate in Russia. We are consolidating the positive dynamics of trade and investment, including the work of the Joint Commission at the level of the two heads of government. The work of the Intergovernmental Committee is also an activity of our side. It is headed by Denis Valentinovich, Deputy Prime Minister of the Russian government, Manturov. I hope that this new position will also enable him to successfully resolve the issues raised. We have been working on these in the past few years, except for the 22 to 26-year economic cooperation plan. The Prince also listed the measures we approved after the Moscow talks on October 23rd. And I've already mentioned that a notable event was the joint holding of the 4th Inoprom Central Asia International Industrial Exhibition in Tashkent in April this year. More than 400 companies represented Russia, including our largest Rosatom Rostek, Kamazi. Sberbank is different, and it is mentioned separately that October 7th is the 23rd. You and I, together with the President of Kazakhstan, have begun to supply Russian gas to Uzbekistan through Kazakh territory. Exports are now being carried out ahead of schedule, and we are ready to increase this amount if necessary, and to develop a number of large infrastructure projects in key economic sectors, such as the construction of metallurgical clusters, natural gas chemical complexes, and copper concentrators. The flagship project is financially supported by Russia's leading credit institutions, including the state-owned development company, VEB, Gazprom Bank, etc. Today we will attend the meeting with you. As you mentioned, The Regional Council of Russia and Uzbekistan will sign a number of interregional cooperation documents during this period, providing for the implementation of many large-scale investment projects. We note with satisfaction that some 80 constituent entities of the Russian Federation are actively interacting with the regions of Uzbekistan. Of course, the development of cultural and humanitarian ties is of particular importance to our countries and their citizens. A notable event was the Russian season in Uzbekistan, in which famous theatrical and music groups toured, exhibitions, film screenings, and masterclasses were held. Uzbekistan ranks first among the CIS countries in terms of the number of students in Russian universities, with more than 63,000 and about 14,000 students studying in our country free of charge. Our joint work in the multilateral framework of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is often an example of constructive interaction. Today, we have a good opportunity to consider the entire agenda of relations between our countries in detail. Thank you again for your invitation.
Еще раз большое вам спасибо за приглашение.